What is up, Power Ranger fans? Welcome to Off the Grid, a Power Rangers podcast. I am your host, Jacob Bartley, and this is the show where we talk all things Power Rangers, whether that be in the movie world, the television world, the comic book world, the toys and collectibles world. We are here to talk it all, and today's episode, unlike most episodes, we have more than one topic to talk about. We're going to talk about Power Rangers number 5, which just came out today on March 24th, which is one of the reasons why I'm getting this episode out so late. Another reason why is I've had terrible allergies since Sunday. My weakness, my kryptonite is pollen. That is my weakness. I ask anybody who knows me very well, about once a year, maybe twice a year, I get some of the worst pollen allergies you've ever seen. It's like getting sick for me. I can't do anything. I couldn't work. I have to stay at home, stay in bed. It's basically like being sick. So, but today's the first day I started feeling a lot better. And, as the day went on, I started to feel even better. So, I am good to go for this review. It is a pretty late review, I admit, but hey, still on Wednesday. Doesn't really matter. People could watch this anywhere in the world, so welcome. It's probably morning somewhere, perfect time of day somewhere in the world. So let's get to it. Again, nothing that I'm aware of. No big news topics, no big collectibles that have come out as of yet, but I will keep you guys posted on that stuff in the future. Let's jump right into it. We're going to talk Power Rangers number 5, the 2021 issue. Basically, it's the Omega Rangers line of the Power Rangers comics, and we're going to talk Power Rangers DINO FURY episode 4, titled New Recruits. Let's jump into the comic book issue. These both will be spoiler reviews, so let's get into it. If you don't know, I can't give a full history lesson every time that we talk about the Omega Rangers, but I can just remind people, if you're not too familiar, that they are Jason, Trini, and Zach, the original Red, Yellow, and Black Ranger from Mighty Morphin, who went on to become these Omega Rangers after they left the original team. They're out in space handling galaxy issues, while the Mighty Morphin team is on Earth. Right now, they're at a little bit of a butting heads, you can say, with the Power Rangers and Zordon, because they took Lord Draken, the best villain in Power Rangers ever. They took him with them because they need his help to track down these Imperials, whatever you want to call them, because they are causing some trouble in the galaxy. Now, last time we left off, we visited the world that was Lord Draken's paradise, the place he went to after he defeated the Rangers and created his own fake world. Eventually, basically the morphing grid decided that, hey, you can't do this, and they kept him there as a prisoner and had these big monster ghosts keeping him there, and he escaped. And we find out in this issue that he went to a planet named Onyx, and Onyx is where the last issue leaves off. We see some aliens gambling in there, and now we're back on Onyx. And basically, the ship is damaged. They need a converter. Jason and Zach head to the town, and it looks like an old Western town, but it's in a space. It's in a planet deep in outer space. And I believe it's Zach. He's saying, I feel like we just time traveled to the past, not went to a different galaxy. And that's kind of funny because maybe this world is just, they headed in the way of like Westerns, and that's what era their, world is in, or they just like the style of that environment. So that was pretty cool. So they're looking for this character named Frederick Pratt, and to try to find a converter. Draken sent them there, and in the meantime, Draken, Zai, Trini, and forget the beast's name, I think it's Yale, are all back on the ship trying to fix it. So they find out who Frederick is. They tell him they need a converter, and Zach wants to play. And first I'm like, wait a minute, okay, even if Zach is, maybe he's good at these kind of things, right? You can't learn a new alien gambling game in a couple minutes and then bet everything you have on it, risk getting this converter, not getting the converter just to, because you're brave. So that was interesting. But hey, he has guts. He's sometimes not the smartest Power Ranger, but he is the bravest Power Ranger because he's always willing to throw himself in danger. So, that has its benefits for sure. And of course, the monster was cheating. He says, "Give me that bracelet on your hand." And Zach bets it because he's cocky. But we find out the monster was cheating. So Zach did actually beat him. But then the biggest moment to me in this issue, Astronema shows up. If you followed me at all, if you've watched any past videos, if you go to my villain rankings and my top 5 villain rankings, Astronema was number 2, I believe. And then my top 10 Power Rangers of all time, because she becomes the pink Lost Galaxy Ranger, she's in that top 10 list as well. So I love Astronema. I think In Space is arguably the best season of Power Rangers. She's one of the best villains in Power Rangers. I love her. So when she shows up, I kind of geeked out. So that was awesome. And she's just like trying to kill the Rangers. And she kind of breaks out this whole fight in the bar. And then another surprise, which might have been a big deal to some people, maybe as big as Astronema showing up for other people, is SPD shows up. Space Patrol Delta, I believe, is what it stands for. And I haven't watched SPD yet. I believe it's next on my list. I just watched, I forget which one I just watched, but as some of you may know, I'm on a journey to watch all the Power Ranger series. Never watched all of them. Only watched up to Lightspeed Rescue when I was a kid. So I'm watching all of the series to give myself some more perspective on everything and get my knowledge up. And I think SPD is my next one. But unfortunately, they're all taken off Netflix now. But apparently they're on YouTube for free. I don't know. I got to figure it out. I'll pay for it if I have to. That's fine. So we go back to the ship too, and we see them talking to Lord Draken and Trini and Draken, which they have this philosophical differences going on throughout this issue. And by the way, I'll say, before I get to the end, I'll say this is my favorite issue of the new 2021 version of Power Rangers. Basically, this is my favorite Omega Rangers issue, is what I'm going to call this run, Omega Rangers. Because if I say Power Rangers number 5, it's confusing. So Omega Rangers number 5 is what it should be called. And this is my favorite issue so far. I have not been impressed, but the last 2 episodes have given us a lot of answers to the broader scope of this world that's going on. So Trini and Draken start talking about how Draken's been through so much and how at one point he was homeless. And he's like, basically he says like, you can't ever be in power forever. So when you are in power, you got to take as much as you can because you can be right back in that place where you were homeless. And he tells a story about how him and this other homeless woman agreed to look out for each other. And when he was asleep, she stole all his stuff. So basically, Draken's like, you can't trust anybody. You got to take what you can. And Trini's like, no, you sound like every other tyrant. They get into this debate. And I'm liking this because I've said before, Trini is the most intelligent Ranger. Yes, Billy is scientifically, mathematically, the most intelligent. But when it comes to philosophical human interactions combined with scientific smarts and all that, Trini is the smartest Ranger. So it's kind of not, and we have to assume Draken is super, super elite level intelligence, and maybe not even the regular Tommy probably never reaches that level. But so having them have these discussions is really cool. I really liked it. So basically, when SPD shows up, they arrest Astronema and the 2 Rangers, and we get basically a big reveal that the SPD Rangers got Zordon's message. Because remember, when the Omega Rangers took Lord Draken, they said or Zordon said, I'm going to use all my resources to track you guys down and bring you in. And of course he's going to reach out to SPD. When SPD showed up, I should have known right away that it was going to have some type of connection to Zordon. So, yeah, this happens near the end though, but I'll just talk about it since I'm already talking about it. They reveal that they got Zordon's message and they have Jason locked up, or they have Jason in cuffs. They have Astronema and Zach locked up on their ship as well. But before that, Zai reveals that through studying the the dead red emissary, that he found out, I don't know, I forget exactly how, but he found information on this being named Sire Lentinvius, I believe is what it's called, and he's a philosopher from Edoni, and I believe Edoni is the planet that Alpha's from. That Alpha's from Edoni, and so is the Gold Zeo Ranger, I believe. Correct me on that if I'm wrong. But he's a philosopher from Edoni, 16,000 years ago. He went mad before the age of 28, and he claimed to have a vision of the birth of the universe. And basically, this is what Zai says, there were 3 messengers who cast, and they were red, blue, and yellow, who cast long shadows of pain and chaos. So Zai believes that Empyreals are these shadows. And Trini asks, are these 3 beings the Morphin Masters? I don't know if that was confirmed or not, but she did ask that. So that's probably going to pay off later. That's important for the overall story arc that's going on. That's probably going to pay off later. So then we see Zach and Astronema talking in their cell. They start fighting, but then Separator comes up, and Astronema says that she dedicated her entire life to destroying Rangers because they slaughtered her family. So obviously, this Astronema is a result of post-Draken winning world, post-Shattered Grid Astronema. So we don't know exactly what she's been through, so we're going to have to learn some more about that. Like, where's Andros? And we know, well, this is not the same timeline or the same world, but in the Coinless world, where Lord Draken's from, Andros is evil, which we got revealed in the Ranger Slayer issues. But anyways, yeah, so we learned a little, and I hope Astronema sticks around. Like, if the Rangers make it off of this planet without still being arrested, without getting sent back to Zordon, and they continue on their mission with Lord Draken, I hope Astronema joins their team. And if there's any indication of that, we get Ecliptor. He's obviously on the cover of the issue, so no surprise there. But I'm so happy Astronema showed up. We get Ecliptor, who's the green, the being, the monster with the green in him and the black, and he's from Power Rangers in Space. He's the one who originally stole Astronema from her brother and kind of was like raised her in a way. He's like a father figure to her, and very emotional stuff. Some of the best storytelling in all Power Rangers television is the Ecliptor and Astronema stuff from Power Rangers in Space. So, and Ecliptor shows up. At first, Draken attacks him, but he's like, look, I'm not here to fight you guys. I think we could help each other out. And it ends. And obviously, they need to get the Rangers out. So I think we're going to see possibly Draken, Trini, Zai break out, free Jason and Zach and Astronema from SPD, and then they all kind of go on this mission together, which that's going to be kind of cool. Like I said, my favorite issue of Power Rangers or Omega Rangers so far. Very, very well done. Obviously, it has the big pop reveals and cameos and all that, and it's not just because of that, but all that stuff adds to it, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. What about you guys? Let me know in the comment section what you thought of this issue. I'm very happy because I wasn't loving this storyline. I'm really liking, obviously, the Mighty Morphin line, but I wasn't loving this line, and now if they continue this momentum, I'm loving it. So, yeah, like I said, let me know in the comment section what you thought of the issue. I'm curious to know your thoughts. All right, now let's move on to Power Rangers DINO FURY episode number 4 titled New Recruits. And we had a break last week. There wasn't an episode last week, which was fine. So let's jump into it. So basically, the whole storyline of this season is that Void Knight is trying to build this machine, and he needs the Sporix in order to do that, and they're all over the city, whatever. And the Power Rangers are trying to clean up the Sporix and defeat them or find them before they hatch, whatever the case is. So that's kind of what's going on. The episode starts with Void Knight awakening some monster, and they need to steal what's called the Nephrite Orb, which is at this museum. So that's basically what this whole episode revolves around, is this Nephrite Orb. And then we also see the Red Ranger Zato applying for a job at Buzz Blast. Amelia's trying to help him get a job, so that's cool. Some funny interactions there. Then we meet this character named Javi. And now look, I know a lot of people already know, and again, this is spoilers, that Javi and Izzy were going to become Power Rangers and that they're siblings and all that stuff. I didn't know any of this going in. I knew Izzy was going to be the Green Ranger because I read a story about the first female Green Ranger, which was cool. But we meet Javi. I didn't know he was going to become a Ranger, but I figured they wouldn't put so much emphasis on his character and like have him be such an important part of this episode if he wasn't going to be a Power Ranger. So once we met him, I was like, oh, he's going to be a Ranger, but I did not think that he was Izzy's brother, which was pretty cool. So basically, Zato and Javi are going for the same job at Buzz Blast, and Zato has to interview this girl, Izzy Garcia, who's like this big athlete, and Javi has to go to the museum and find out information on this orb, while the monsters are there to get the orb. And then we find out that the park warden from the forest that they had problems with in the beginning of the season is Amelia's, or is Izzy's stepdad. And so we find that out. And so that was pretty funny. And then Zato kind of helps her out with her athleticism, and in doing so, he gets an interview, and they start interviewing her. Meanwhile, the orb is being hijacked by the Sporix at the museum, and they get it while Javi's there. So then the Rangers show up, and the monsters try to take it, but they get in a fight with the Rangers, and Javi takes the orbs and dips out. And then, but prior to that, the warden was hit by the monster, and so he's around. And then Izzy shows up, and we find out that Javi is his son. So Izzy and Javi are step siblings, I'm assuming, or at least half siblings, because Javi is his son, and Izzy said that he's her stepdad. So a lot of stuff going on here. And once I realized, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So, I think it's cool when two of the Rangers are siblings. So I just think that's kind of cool. And so Javi has this secret spot. Mucus followed him there. Izzy knows where it is. So, of course, the big showdown is here. And first of all, look, as much as you can like these characters on this show, I like Javi and Izzy, especially Izzy. And I love how excited they are when they morph. So they break the orb and they morph, and we find out that inside the orb was just some of these, what are they called? DINO keys in the orb. And they just automatically connect with Javi and Izzy, and they morph into the Black and Green Ranger. Now, there's a moment in the episode where Izzy rips the skirt off the suit. And I'm assuming that in the Super Sentai footage, the Green Ranger is not supposed to be a girl, or maybe she is, and doesn't have a suit or doesn't have a skirt in the action. So they're like, oh, let's give her this cool moment where, she rips the skirt off, so then we don't have to explain why she doesn't have a skirt later on. But it's like they kind of turned it into like a women empowerment, or is it like something else? I don't know. But it was kind of cringy, like, to me, to be honest. It was just, like, unnecessary because now Amelia's wearing her skirt. So what does that say about her? Like, she's not a strong woman because she's wearing a skirt? I don't know. Maybe it's not that big of an issue that I thought it was. But regardless of that, I really liked Javi and Izzy as Rangers. First of all, the action was pretty damn cool with them, and Izzy is great with her. The actress who plays her is great with her quips and her dialogue while they're fighting. Super cool. I loved her interaction with one of the monsters when she's like, I don't know, she's like, oh, we're vibing a lot today, and it was just funny. And he's like, vibing with a teenager? I'm out of here. And I just thought that was pretty funny. So, of course, one of the monsters goes big. They fight him with the Megazords. And Zato gets the Sporks, but Void Knight was watching from afar and says, 5 Rangers now, not enough to stop me. And we do find out that, I don't know which one is which, but they say the Black and Green Rangers are the Tiger and the Stego Dino keys. So that's pretty cool. And it all wraps up with a stupid J-Bot, J-Borg, Vulcan Skull moment. And then we find out that Javi gets the job because he was brave with the orb. So, look, I'm liking the characters on this show. I like the team. The team's pretty cool because I really liked Amelia and her personality, and I really liked most of them. But, but obviously I'm grading on, I grade Power Rangers with a curve, if you know what that means. It's like a test when they curve the grades on the highest grade. Like if the highest grade somebody got was 88, a B+, then the whole class is compared to that 88. So like, and that'll say, because I love some seasons of Power Rangers. Like I love the original seasons and In Space and Lost Galaxy and Zeo. I love a lot of them, but there's some really bad ones too. So I don't want to be too hard on Power Rangers, but for what it is, I'm liking the season, having fun. It's adding cool mythology. I really like a couple of the characters. So let's see where it goes. I'm not completely on board yet, but it's not bad. It's not bad. It's definitely not on, so far, it's definitely not on the worst tier of Power Rangers, but maybe you guys think it is. Let me know in the comment section. I would love to know. So that's going to do it for this episode of Off the Grid of Power Rangers podcast. Again, I'm Jacob Bartley. You can find me on Twitter at JacobBartley824. Tweet a lot about movies and television shows, things that I'm watching and stuff like that. And don't forget to check out my movie podcast with my buddies, Apocalypse Movies. We talk all things film. We just did a review of Zack Snyder's Justice League spoiler discussion. Go check that out at Apocalypse Movies. And please subscribe to this YouTube channel if you like all things Power Rangers. We're going to be covering it all, especially when all this movie stuff starts to happen. Cannot wait for that. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, may the power protect you.